Part 58 of Don't Say Schwarzenegger. We are now finally to day one of covering our 2021 landmark civil trial where we were awarded about $75 million-ish by some of the owners of Blaze Pizza a few years ago, and they never paid a dime. So day one, let's bring you to July 7th, 2021. It's jury selection. Little reminder of who the four defendants that lost are. It's Alberto Daniel Driz, Maurice Driz, Shawn Driz, and William Joelson. Now, I'm going to start every single day of every trial that I explained to you, and I'm going to tell you who was actually present, because there were rarely days where all the defendants bothered to show up on time or at all. A lot of disrespect to the court. And for day one for jury selection, while we were all there, the only ones that showed up were William Joelson and Alberto Daniel Driz, and I can't wait to tell you why. Oh, side note, William Joelson showed up about an hour late to court, and he said, oh, traffic and parking. Get ready to hear an excuse every single day, at least one excuse for something or other from these guys every single day. It's going to become redundant, but hilarious. So in my previous part where I talked about the final status conference with the judge and the attorneys, and these four men are broke and indigent, driving Rolls Royces and stuff like that, and living in multi-million-dollar luxury residences and stuff like that. But they're broke and indigent, so they're repping themselves and not having the usual, $2,000 an hour attorneys that they can afford. So the night before, right after the final status conference ended, about 4:53 p.m., I got an email from my attorney saying, the night before the trial starts, jury selection, my attorney emails me and he goes, hey, so it turns out Shawn Driz filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy just now, which means if you file for bankruptcy at the very end of the workday, 4:45 p.m., what that means is the offices close at 5 and there's not enough that can be done. And automatically, what that means is for the next at least 24 hours, there is an automatic stay on all lawsuits, trials, hearings, everything. So legally, Shawn was able to pull a move so that he legally didn't have to show up. The jurors all showed up. Everybody's got work. Everyone's got careers, families, pets, all of us, all the jurors, everybody. But Shawn didn't show up because he filed for bankruptcy at 4:45 p.m. the night before. So we talk about this, we explain it to the judge, who is not stupid. The amazing Judge Susan Bryan Deason actually said, this is simply a tactic to put off the trial. Yep. So at this point now, once we realize he's not going to be there, but the judge, thank God, is we're not going to just end the trial and send all the jurors home and have to get a whole new batch. She sends the jurors home early and says, okay, it's a Wednesday right now. Everyone gets off tomorrow. So now we have a day off, in between, while we figure this out and we get the stay lifted and force him to come to court. We're hoping by Friday. But while we have Alberto in court, the judge is like, okay, so you are court ordered to bring all your financial documents. All four were ordered because at the end of a civil trial, if they're all found guilty and if it's for a malicious crime, you'll add on a punitive trial, which is another day or two added on, and that's to punish someone who's done something horrific, usually for assaults and stuff like that. So she's like, okay, where are your financial documents? And of course, he didn't have them. So she goes, okay, we'll bring them Friday. Another thing is starting on this first day, and then many times throughout the trial, the judge had to keep reminding and ordering the men to stand up with respect every single time the jury comes in or leaves the courtroom. They tell you that on day one and you just do it out of respect. They refused. And Alberto said the reason Maurice wasn't in court was because he can't talk because of his throat cancer. And he says, but I'll try to wheel him in a wheelchair on Friday. And then, and again, jury leaves, but we still have a lot of work to do and stuff like that. So we're all still here. At this point, Alberto's like, can I leave? And the judge is like, no, we're still dealing with stuff. And then all of a sudden, William Joelson, kind of saunters in the middle of the day. And he's like, oh, and she's like, yeah. And he does the whole, oh, it's traffic and parking. Whoops. This will happen almost every day for the rest of the trial. Then we get to the point of the trial where the judge finally gets the criminal conviction info from my attorneys that she had requested the day before at the final status conference. And he gives it to her. And then she asks him, she looks at it and she rightfully is like, well, wait a second. Why was there such a huge increase on the bail for Maurice Driz when this all went down. And my attorney said he wasn't sure. And so I still have to find out what that was, because those are things that we should know. So the judge prints out the fraudulent Chapter 7 bankruptcy thing that Shawn Driz had his bankruptcy attorney file the night before. That's Matthew D. Resnick who did this for him. And Shawn even came back to court. I'll get to it later, but Shawn was like, oh no, he told me. Like, they wrote it up weeks before, but he told Shawn to file it at the very end of the workday the night before, so that it would pretty much screw the schedule and work and family situations of all the jurors and all the plaintiffs and all our attorneys. Like, Resnick, great guy, that's his face. So the judge told the attorneys, our attorneys, she was like, okay, so we're in a federal courthouse. You guys are going to go downstairs and you're going to go file the papers, whatever it is, and you're going to have this automatic stay lifted. And you're going to be able to do it now. And she goes, and I know for a fact you'll be able to have it lifted by the end of the day, because he only did this to delay the trial and to screw it up for everybody else. So that was amazing. And when that happened, Shawn Driz, or I'm guessing Resnick, or maybe Resnick had somebody else do it for him, but they opposed their motion to lift the stay, claiming it's not an emergency. Terrible people. Okay, so that's it. And this is where stuff is about to go off. Stuff's about to go off, and it's going to be really embarrassing. Can't wait to get to it. Ready, Driz family extended? Here we go.